construction land use when the slides are affecting private homes, and to the Public Works Functional Group, which I lead. And that's consists of Parks Department, Washington Natural Gas, Water Department, the old Water Department, the old Engineering Department, Seattle Transportation, and basically all the utilities, whether they're private or public. We coordinate with WashDOT and King County. In the recent slide, we actually had Larry Taylor driving a van around depositing people at different areas where they had lost their homes or were red tagged and had to find other shelter. This recent event, I thought, was a very seamless event, and it might have had something to do with the fact that first of the year everybody was changing organizations with all the reorganizations, and as a matter of fact, the EOC here, or the Office of Emergency Manager, the Office of Emergency Management went from DAS to under the Police Department, and of course the old Engineering Department became Seattle Transportation and Seattle Public Utilities, and that all happened the day of the slides. So since nobody really knew what was their new organizations too well, this particular session, or this particular office, was a fairly important coordinator. And I was quite gratified at the response that I got when I was asking for help from the Water Department. I know as a Seattle Transportation representative, we had Water Department crews putting asphalt berms around inlets to alleviate flooding. We had Parks Department operators and Parks Department equipment clearing snow. We had City Light crews helping, and it was the nearest thing to a seamless city that I've ever seen. And I'm not sure whether it was just because of the confusion or because of the way we should have been operating all along, but it was quite gratifying to me.
How did the public respond, do you think, to the way we handled the storm?
Well, the public are never going to be totally satisfied, especially when you can't get to and from work, or into or out of your home, or you're being thrown out of your home. But I think in general, considering that this was probably the worst snowstorm that certainly I've ever encountered, and I think most people have encountered, that we did about as well as we can. Of course, we did get another snowplow from Charlie, so thank you, Charlie.
Were there any lessons learned from this?
Well, yeah, there probably were lessons learned. The one I learned was don't take charge between Christmas and New Year's, because you're not going to have anybody to back you up.
Did you hear any really wild stories while you were down here, like just incredible? I'm glad this isn't happening to me.
Well, of course, the people that didn't live on the hillsides were happy, unless, of course, they lived down in the valleys that were flooding. I think we really responded pretty well, considering the huge damage. We had over 300 slides. Most of them private property, involving private property, sliding onto private property, but with Parks and City Light and Seattle Transportation, we had basically $30 million worth of damage that we're repairing quickly. As you know, the Magnolia Bridge recently opened after being closed right at the beginning of the slides. That was a project that went very well, obviously. It helps when it's the top priority project in the city to get everything done. We had another bridge damaged out on East Boston Terrace. Seattle Public Utilities actually ran that project for us. It was a combined sewer blowout and damage to the bridge, and we had Seattle Public Utilities had a crew out and contractors out within days.
That's great. Yeah, the definite, looking for those, everyone's working together
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah, I think that's real good, Jeff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, I'm Ron, you can just.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite a different day from the day that we were called out to work the holiday blast. Working the holiday blasts, I was on vacation, and I heard on the news of all the damage that had occurred in Puget Power and the Seattle City Light area. As soon as I heard this, I called the supervisor, Bill Challender, and told him that I'd be willing to come in from vacation to help out with the storm. And they said that that would be great, that they were in the process right then of organizing the crews to come out to handle the storm, and they'd get back with me. They got back to me shortly and told me that they needed me to come in, that they had a crew already waiting for me, that when I got in, I'd be assigned a job to go on. The crews are pretty well set up to handle any emergency calls due to the way that we keep our material and our trucks organized. The call that I got called on when I come in was to go out to Three Tree Point. There was a line that was down that had 5 spans of 26 kV primary down. When I got the information, we immediately had a tailgate on the dock, organized what equipment we was going to need, that we knew we would need, and procured the material that we had, so when we got out to the job site, we'd be ready to go. When we got out to the job site, we coned up the area, protected ourselves, and this particular job required to have a clearance on the line, so a clearance was gotten, and as soon as the clearance was gotten, we went to work putting the line back together. Now, the guys that were on my crew to start off with, several of them had been working previous call-outs, and they responded right away when they knew that there would be a long, drawn-out ordeal, knowing how much lines were down and what kind of situation the power outage everybody was in. When I left home, I'm on the Puget Power system, and my power was out, and on arrival at work, there were quite a few individuals that work for Seattle City Light that said that their power was out also. During this storm, my own family was without power for 7 days with Puget Power. I tried to have my wife get a generator to be able to have the basics at home, but I was unable to be able to procure one because of the magnitude of people that were without power. One of the jobs that I can relate to is a job that we had down on the Puget Sound that was snowed in. Of course, all the trucks were chained up. We got to the top of this one hill and seeing that we weren't able to go in with our vehicles, so we hiked down to where the job was. It was probably a half a mile from where we parked our trucks, and the customers down there had lines torn down by trees across them. So we went back to the trucks and procured the material that we needed, put it on a tarp, and attached a rope to the tarp, and we had 2 guys in front of it and 2 guys behind it with our material, chainsaws, wire, hoist, and so forth, so that we could get the customers back on. I considered this to be outstanding work by all the members of our crew. It's really, they knew that these customers had been without power for several days, and that there was a lot of elderly people out there that needed their power, and they didn't know the circumstances of the customers, but they were very willing and anxious to get them back into power just as quickly as they could. This went on for several days, and the crews just did an outstanding job going out in the field. No, I wasn't involved in any of that. Some of the other crews were involved in it, but the crews that I had, we didn't do any of that type of work. It was mainly with the crews that we normally have.
Yeah, okay. The only other thing I'm going to ask is, since I don't know stuff, when you went to Three Tree Point, is that where all the lines were down? Is that what you were?
No, there were lines down all over the area. In the Skyway area, they had big trees down. The Berrien area, there were a lot of huge trees that were down.
Like just this overall kind of, there was this happening, there was this happening, there, you know. And then I'll let you go back to your job. I'm just trying to get the magnitude of everything.
Okay. Over this period of several days, there was a large variety of customers that were out. The Berrien area, we went to that location and restored probably over 1,000 customers due to trees being down across feeder lines. Another location that we worked on was just to the east of I-5 in the Tukwila area. We had a 4 kV system that had 8 or 9 poles that were pack-ins because we couldn't get in there with the vehicles due to the snow. The central area had some feeders out that the crews went in and restored the feeders where we had trees down across them. a lot of these areas, after we completed our work, we had to have the engineering department come in and clear up the streets where we just left the trees off to the side of the street because we had to go on to other areas to restore power. In the Riverton Heights area, there was an area there that had 3 or 4 large trees down across lateral lines that the roads were blocked off for several blocks. That the crews went in there and cleaned up that, and we had the engineering department come in later and clear up the debris that we had cleared up.
Oh no, if you were going to give the city a grade for how well they did.
I would say that the city did an outstanding job. Looking back at other utilities, our system seemed to get back on real quick. I realize that some of the other utilities have a larger area that is forested, but the planning of the city, they have done an excellent job in keeping the trees trimmed with their tree trimming program, and the response time of the crews was just outstanding. I don't think that there could have really been any better job done on any of the work that was done during this storm.
That's great. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Today on Cover to Cover, we're going to be talking about history, Seattle's history, discovering your family's history, and a historic branch library. Hi, I'm Sharon Griggins, and in today's program, we're going to be taking a tour of the Seattle Collection, where you can find everything from early explorers' journals to a biography of Jimi Hendrix. We'll also be going to the Douglas Truth Library and learning how a recent gift to the library left a lot of smiles on kids' faces. So join us for Cover to Cover. And I left some stuff out of that one. So I'll take it again. Today on Cover to Cover, we're going to be talking about history, Seattle's history, tracing your own family history, and a historic branch library. Hi, I'm Sharon Griggins, and today's show will be taking a tour of the Seattle Collection, where you can find everything from early explorers' journals to a biography by Jimi Hendrix. Not by Jimi Hendrix, because he probably didn't know how to write, but... Okay. Today on Cover to Cover, we're going to be talking about history, Seattle's history, tracing your own family history, and a historic branch library. Hi, I'm Sharon Griggins, and on today's program, we'll be featuring a tour of the Seattle Collection, where you can find everything from early explorers' journals to a biography of Jimi Hendrix. Then we'll be talking with people who are tracing their own family history with the help of the librarians here in the genealogy department. Then we'll be taking a tour of the Douglas Truth Branch and talking about a recent gift that's leaving a lot of smiles on a lot of kids' faces. So stay tuned for Cover to Cover. Today on Cover to Cover, we're going to be talking about history, Seattle's history, tracing your own family history, and a historic branch library. Hi, I'm Sharon Griggins, and on today's program we'll be featuring a tour of the Seattle Collection, which offers everything from early explorers' journals to biographies of Jimi Hendrix. Then we'll be talking with people who are tracing their own family history with the help of the librarians here in the genealogy department. All right?
Just scooch that way just to hear.
Okay. Today on Cover to Cover, we'll be talking about history, Seattle's history, discovering your own family history, and a historic branch library. Hi, I'm Sharon Griggins, and on this program we'll be taking a tour of the Seattle Collection, which offers everything from early explorers' journals to a biography of Jimi Hendrix. Then we'll be talking with people who are tracing their own family history with the help of the folks here in the genealogy department. We'll be going out to Douglas Truth Library and learning about a recent gift that's put smiles on a lot of kids' faces here in Seattle. So stay tuned to learn more about your library on Cover to Cover. Today on Cover to Cover, we're going to be talking about history, Seattle's history, tracing your own family history, and a historic branch library. Hi, I'm Sharon Griggins, and in this program we'll be taking a tour of the Seattle Collection, which offers history for everything from whatever to whatever. Sorry. Stray from the script, you get lost in the woods. Today on Cover to Cover, we're going to be talking about history, Seattle's history, discovering your own family history, and a historic branch library. Hi, I'm Sharon Griggins, and on this program we'll be featuring a tour of the Seattle Collection, which offers everything from early explorers' journals to a biography of Jimi Hendrix. Then we'll be talking with people who are tracing their own family history with the help of folks here in the genealogy department. We'll be learning about a gift that's putting smiles on a lot of faces and kids throughout Seattle, and we'll pay a visit to Douglas Truth Library. So stay tuned to learn more about your library on Cover to Cover. Okay? So that's our show. We hope you enjoyed it and learn a little bit more about all that's waiting for Hugh at the Seattle Public. Hugh is waiting for you down here. There's Hugh right there. Hugh, stand up. And thanks for watching. And we'd like you to meet Hugh. I'm sorry. Laughter is supposed to be beneficial. Okay, good. Thanks, Hugh. Okay. So that's our show. We hope you've enjoyed it and learned a little bit more about all that's waiting for you here at the Seattle Public Library. Thanks for watching. I'm Sharon Griggins. And this is Hugh. Shall we do it one more time?
Yeah. How about, I'm Sharon Griggins, thanks for
Thanks for watching. Okie doke. That's what I wrote here, but I didn't say it that way.
I looked up that Blake. Apparently they used the date, this person used dates as a middle name. That's the first
Okay.
name, that's the last name.
So that's our show. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it and learned a little bit more about all that's waiting for you here at the Seattle Public Library. I'm Sharon Griggins. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
I might. All right, are you ready? So that's our show. Thanks for watching. We hope you've enjoyed it. Oops, I said it again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Oh.
There's no lead, but there's 5.
So that's our show. We hope you enjoyed it and learned a little bit more about all that's waiting for you here at the Seattle Public Library. I'm Sharon Griggins. Thanks for watching. Okay, great. We're done. And the sun's coming out. Prepared.
Yeah, and you can be whatever age, and there's a connection with the past that you lose, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the most you find yourself thinking.
I
oh,
know.
That's
We were
just
just
one part
talking
of the
about
problem.
the genealogy. We were just talking about
Yeah.
how important it is to do
Yes.
that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Of course.
And
The same thing happened in our family.
yeah. Well, one learns too late.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's. So my dad's house isn't. He lives in California, so
Mhm.
we're trying to get rid of everything.
Well,
kind
whatever
of
you can do
long
ahead
distance.
of time is a good
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah.
And it is harder long distance.
Yeah.
And we have, they lived in the same house for almost 50 years.
Oh my gosh.
And it's full of stuff, and nothing was changed when my mother left. My sister cleaned up a little bit and got rid of like old groceries and things like that. But that's it.
Yeah, we tried to make a list. You know, I guess for the estate, you have to make a list, and it just took us forever to make a
Yeah.
list. It's just
Yeah.
like,
Be able to distribute.
Share,
And
yeah.
my parents lived in China, and
Oh, really?
so they have some Chinese art, which is nice.
They lived in China just.
They both lived in Shanghai at the end of the war, and they married there. And
Wow.
they both had like kind of jobs. They were working in a United Nations agency.
Can you tell me about your job here at Douglas Truth?
Well, I am the branch librarian here, and my responsibilities include being sure that the library is operating in such a way that it provides library service. and that people can come and use the library resources. And I have, I think, altogether 11 people who report to me. That includes part-time people, and they're responsible for the circulation functions, checking material out, and they're also responsible for answering questions when people come in and helping people use the library's resources, and also some programming and outreach, which I also do. And my job is basically, as I see it, is to make all of that work. And I also do, I work on the desk and answer questions for the public, and do work with some people in the community to make the library's resources better known. And that's a very kind of pleasant part of my work, is the community outreach part of it.
Great.
So.
Which is my next question. What's your favorite part of the job?
Oh, well, working with the community. We're so lucky in this neighborhood. I think that people love the library, and that's probably true of every other community too, but I've always felt that the library service is much more kind of vital a need in this community, and other communities see the library as a kind of temple and an ornament to the community and so forth and so on. In this community, people really use and love their library, and when you can provide a service that people really use and love that way, and you can actually kind of see lives changing before your eyes, and that kind of makes it very pleasant. And you go to a community meeting and people say, "Oh, the library," and you get a chance to talk about library resources, and it's very fulfilling. And I think every library job is fulfilling, and we provide a much valued service, but you don't always get a chance to hear people say, "Oh, the library," in that way, that it's very nice. I like that part of it the best.
Great. Why do you enjoy working at this particular branch? Have you been in other branches?
I have, yeah. I've worked all throughout the system. I worked in the downtown library, and I've worked at several of the branches. And I always wanted to work this is my neighborhood for one thing, and I think it's very nice to be able to work and live in the same neighborhood. But this is a very interesting community. It's one of the most constantly changing neighborhoods in the city. Demographically, it has always been that way. Waves of people have moved through this community and absorbed a way of life and then moved on, and the library has always been kind of central to that, and that we can participate in that process it makes the work here very interesting. And we have people who are recent arrivals from Somalia and Eritrea, and recent arrivals from Mexico, people who are recently here from Asian countries, and they come here, and the library is, I think, intended intentionally a low threshold service, so you can walk in and all the resources are available to you, and we exercise our ingenuity to make them available. I don't think you get that kind of reaching out type response from every city agency, but you see people come in and they're unfamiliar with the library, and they gradually learn how to use it and use the resources, and they acquire skills and knowledge that they translate into other things, and then they move on, and it's really quite wonderful to be part of that. Mm-hmm. And that's this community is it's not the only one that has that character, I think, but it's one of the most remarkable in that respect.
What are some of the challenges, though, for maintaining a collection that responds to the changes in the population?
Well, we have to know what people want and need, and we are not always quick to respond when people's interests and needs change. And we'll see that there are new people in the community, and we'll look around and say, what kinds of tools do we have that they can use? I am put in mind of the Horn of Africa arrivals, and we were aware for a long time that we're getting people. Their costumes sometimes are quite distinctive. They're English second language patrons, and we're aware of that. But
have the era of information technology. You also have the scourges of HIV and AIDS, which are new. And now you got mad cows, mad chickens, and it seems like everybody's going mad. So that's kind of wrap it all up in the aggregate. They had their demons, we're dealing with our demons. So,
the demons may change in name, but
yeah, we didn't have to deal with George Wallace, and they don't have to deal with George Bush and Ray Pookie and them.
But, you know, I mean, it's true that in every era, the demons will take a different name. But it's also true that, I mean, the things that you've described right now, the plagues and scourges of the inner city, a lot of these challenges that you're talking about around reverse discrimination and that rhetoric against affirmative action and against racial and social justice, these are still different not only in degree and not only on the surface, but different in kind from Bull Connor, from Jim Crow. Those were walls that existed, walls that had to be removed and dismantled. Now, having dismantled the walls, we're in a different zone of making the land within the four corners here livable. Do you feel like the moral stakes are any different now? In other words, is it harder to get people fired up for the cause of addressing today's issues than it might have been for Reverend McKinney to fire up his age peers 30 years ago?
Well, things are far more definable. It literally was black and white. Now we're dealing with more perforated lines than hard lines. It's like the difference between dealing with rainwater and mist. You can collect rainwater quickly. Mist can be in the air, but try getting your hands on it. And so, yeah, the complexities are different. You know, racism doesn't come in a hood with a rope, except for some places in Texas. It comes in a suit and a tie with a spin on policy. Racism comes in the form of a C- average, getting into Harvard because you got legacy and clout. But at the same time, on the natural birthday of Martin King, you send an executive order overstepping your powers into the judicial branch to try and manipulate the Supreme Court rendering on the University of Michigan, and whether or not people from historically oppressed groups can get 20 points as race as one of among many things to be considered for admission. New form of racism. Protect past privilege, but at the same time close the doors, a rear guard assault on groups that have been historically oppressed. It's more complicated. The rhetoric is slicker. It used to be nigger. Now it's like, brother, I'm with you. You're just like me. Why do you put so much emphasis upon being black? We're all just American. Why can't we be colorblind? Because blind is blind. And blind means you don't see. And you can't solve any problems that you don't see.
Now, you know, when you talk about that kind of language and that kind of rhetoric, you know, what we've been talking a lot about here is this younger generation today. And we've been talking about the younger generation. What do you do, either at the pulpit or just, you know, every other day of the week, to talk to the younger generation? Do you feel like kids today, either in the African American community or even beyond that, want to hear the kind of language that you're talking, want to hear the stories that you're telling, and what's your way in? What's your angle of entry?
I wish you'd been at service on yesterday. I had a couple of members in the congregation who are, you know, hip-hop enthusiasts. And, you know, I'm not hip-hop. I'm from the funk generation. I grew up in the 70s, Commodores, Ohio Players, the Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Whispers, and when music was real and you had to have some musicianship and you didn't do everything in the studio.
I can see the lines lighting up right now.
Oh, yeah, the Temptations, you know, they all came back to one mic. You know, you had to be able to dance, move, sing. You had to be a real entertainer. And you had to show up in a suit and look like a decent human being, and rather than somebody who just got released. Yesterday, I took a frontal assault on hip-hop, did an analysis of hip-hop in terms of, you know, the growth and development of it, but attacked some of the sociopathic values that are communicated through hip-hop and how it really preys and plays upon the despondency of the broken pockets of our community. The commercialization of pain is really the pimping of pain. And I've oftentimes declared people like Russell Simmons the #1 enemy to the black community because they have marketed things that are really targeted at vulnerable, impressionable minds. And as much as people internalize the values of hip-hop, it does them a disservice in the long run. And whether you Massa Johnson, who gets rich off of people involuntarily picking cotton, or whether you're Russell Simmons, who becomes a half of a billionaire, getting rich off of manipulating the confusion of black boys and girls in the urban centers of America. with all of their gadgets and trinket gods and hip-hop. It's the same thing. It's exploitation for purposes of somebody's
But
gain.
again, that's a message that I would bet would resonate more with the parents of the hip-hoppers than with the hip-hoppers themselves.
It resonates with the parents because it's not their day, their generation, but I'm going after the kids because I'm trying to get them to rethink. You know, Martin King went into the ghettos of Chicago where they egged him and said, you know, we may all be poor, but nobody has an excuse for not taking a bath because everybody can afford a bar of soap. Oh, they didn't want to hear that. They thought it was sedity and uppity. And what he was saying, while we push for greater freedoms, everybody has to take full and best use of the freedoms that you already have. Personal responsibility. If you won't properly manage and steward the ground beneath your feet, you know, nobody's going to deem credible your claims for broader territories. And so every generation, every prophetic voice has to speak in as well as you speak out. Moses spent more time chastising the children of Israel for the golden calves they built at the foot of God's mountain and the rejection of his commandments and laws than he did talking to Pharaoh. And he got more grief from the children of Israel who resisted the imposition of God's character on their lives than he did from Pharaoh. Pharaoh at a point quit. The children of Israel gave him hell until God took him out of his life. And so, you know, you deal with the people outside, you know, who you might have to march on a freeway to get their attention, as well as deal with the people in-house in the internal type of pathologies and petty issues and trivial pursuits.
Well, you know, the last thought and last question for you. I mean, we've encountered each other at many places, most often at the Y on 23rd and Jackson. And even when we're there, when you're there, you're working out, but you're also working. And I'm wondering, just a few seconds left here, do you have a private life? Do you have a time when you can be doing and believing and thinking and working on what you want to do without having your public role kick in and have people come to you for the benefits and the needs of your public role?
Yeah, I have a wonderful private life. You know, I'm married for going on 14 years now to the former Sheila Donnell Stubbs, who was one of my youthful sweethearts. Grew up in Tacoma with me, and we have the two most beautiful children that God's ever made, in my opinion. Carissa, who's 11, and Samuel, who's 9, who looks just like me. Some thinks that's a curse, some think that's a blessing. We have great fun. We're very much into family outings and family trips. My extended family, both my side of the family and my wife's are here. We have a very rich and full private life. I live a busy life like everybody, like yourself. And you really have to press back the waters that are seeking to flood, you know, your family life. And I think I do a halfway decent job getting better at setting the kind of priorities that kind of dam up those waters so it doesn't totally overrun you.
Well, I bet from people watching this conversation, those waters are going to keep on creeping in. More people are going to want to have some time with you and a piece of your views and your world.
Or just give me a piece of their mind.
That's right. Dr. Braxton, thank you for being with us.
Good being here.
Yeah,
see you at the gym.
We've been talking today with Reverend Dr. Leslie Braxton, the senior pastor at Mount Zion Baptist Church. You've been watching Seattle Voices. Hope you'll tune in again and join us for more conversations. Thanks for watching. No, you did. No, it was great. You know, it's classic with this show. I feel like we could go, 40 minutes or so. I mean, any one of the threads that we started going down, we could have talked for another 10, 15 minutes from now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
get
you
your
push
family on.
you push some buttons when you started talking about
and I've been treated exceptionally well.
It's like any job. If you want to do it and be good at it. If you're gonna half-ass it, don't do it. Because this job ain't the half-ass type of job, Because I want, and this goes male or female. I don't want somebody on my truck that is either not stronger or as strong as I am, because they can't do me no good as far as if we're pulling pipe. I need someone at the other end that can pull it. I shouldn't have to go on both sides of the hole and do both our jobs. I just think if you want to do it, be good at it and do it. I don't milk my jobs. I don't go. I feel I go. Everybody says I'm hard working. Some people don't like to work with me because they say I work too hard.
horticulture type related things. They think of the parks, they think of doing something like a garden like this or something, and they never really sit down to think about all just the regular general maintenance aspects of it, which are monotonous and a pain in the butt and filthy and painstaking and frustrating. But in the long run, there's always a lot of rewards for it. You get gardens like this.
When you're working next to somebody dropping trees, you're not going to want to work next to somebody you don't trust. You know, you may not walk away from what you're doing. So you have a tendency to become like a family. You know, even if there's personal differences, there's just certain things on a job that forms a trust.
The most fun is the people I work with. Also, you have to remember, I'm working in the outdoors. This is also protective watershed, so there are numerous kinds of animals. And those animals are neat to see, and it's hard to believe that you're doing your job and there's a deer just over from you, or you're driving down the road and the elk won't get out of the road. It's beautiful. You have to be willing to put up with the weather. It can be hot and buggy. It can be cold and rainy, sleeting. You need to dress in layers. You need to have extra clothes in your locker because you never know when the weather's going to change.
It was exciting for me to see the power of the water. During flood season, I would get to go down, and they had like tunnels that they would open up to let the water basically leave the dam, and the water power, getting to watch it just shoot out and hit the rock wall on the opposite side.
machine? Could you turn the page? Go ahead and take a couple of notes if you would.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Tom, do you want to kind of come in here and pretend like you're helping her? That's, I don't know if there's a good place for you to stand.
So you're looking for information on the main profile of what the job does. Now I think if you go to next, we'll see the next feature on there. What have you done so far? Have you filled in your full profile?
Yes, I have that.
Occupations on your list. Say, go down. Go to next. Next. Go next again. Did you pick that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's if you go to next, eventually you'll get more. It's gonna close. What do you call those?
Very dangerous. What can I say?
So you can actually, let's see what.
Idle.
Sure. Go back.
Go with this.
Yeah, let's go double click on that. That's great. Good. Just a second. So now you're gonna get that interest field for actor, actress. Which one do you want to be?
I'll get you for that one.
So then you can just go on to the next one. You get the same profile, yeah, double click, and then you'll get the same profile for your next occupation. So it turns out. So it's telling you, based on what you told it, the health field part of it fits your profile. But, you know, the average amount of leisure that you get with that does not. You didn't express any interest in social or behavioral sciences, so you got a no there. So that sort of helps you think about, you know, maybe that's not the right profession for me. So there might not want to do that. So.
It tells you why.
Right. In investigating. So in this case, if you were a wage and salary statements for either the Puget Sound Basin or for a municipality in this area or for private industry. It also gives you this important piece of information on outlook and situation. Is that a career that they expect to have an increase in the number of people employed in it or a decrease? That makes sense, particularly if you're thinking on something that's going to be a decrease, right? Yeah. Current employment is given. A little bit about factors that will, if you have to retrain, it will tell you where you can go to get that training, how long it's going to take you to get through the program, and information on typical types of courseworks that you would have to sit for. Okay. So that's a complete profile of that. Once you've decided, you know, that you do want to investigate those particular occupations more fully, you can go to something like, if it's an apprenticeship program, if you were thinking about that, this would give you information on how. And then the next step, if you're trying to identify companies that hire people in that industry, this book, How to Find a Good Job in Seattle, is sort of the standard reference. We consider it the standard reference to identify companies that typically will employ people in that occupation. So you see you have a three-part process going here: identifying the job and the job duties, finding out about schools, and then finding out about where you go to get the credential, and finally what employers there are in this area that hire people in that industry.
Okay.
So off you go.
Well, thank you.
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Hey,
Okay.
this is the checkout section,
Okay.
what we have for job and career information sources. And you were looking for what color is your parachute, is that right?
Yes.
That should be right in here. In fact, here's a 1998 copy of that. This book, over 6 million copies in print. That's considered one of the standard reference sources now. So that's a 3-week loan on that. Similar books on that that sort of are designed to make you think about your work values and possible careers. This Discover What You're Best At is sort of a workbook on that, where you fill in blanks on, what you're looking for in a job, what your work values are. So that's a good exercise if you haven't done that. And then once you get to that point where you're starting to think about what jobs you want to go into, a book like 100 Best Careers for the 21st Century will profile those jobs that they expect an increase in the number of people working in that field rather than a decrease. So that would be a good place to look for jobs that they expect good employment possibilities into the next century. So have a look at those and see what you think. Let me know if you need more help.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, and you guys can just talk about it.
Okay, so this book has been, this is a real standard book. Sold 6 million copies. Really good for making you think about what your job values are, what you're looking for in work, what your career aspirations are. So think about that one as, actually this would be a book that you should be reading cover to cover as you
Okay.
begin your job search. Sound good?
And it's a 3-week checkout?
It's a 3-week
Okay.
checkout. You can take that out downstairs at the services desk.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
History, is that right? Yes. So we have 3 good books here. This is sort of the standard reference source, the Directory of Executive Recruiters. It's now in its 27th edition, so it's been coming out for a long time. It's national in scope. This book is by Linda Carlson, who lives in Seattle, executive search firm and employment agencies in Seattle will identify executive search firms in this market only. So that's good if you're, particularly if you're interested in high tech, biotechnology, or advanced technology. So there are a lot of companies in technology here, and yeah, see high tech recruiters there, high technology there, and it gives you these page numbers. So you can go and read those to determine which ones might most closely meet your profile, but they'll identify those companies that recruit in high technology. These then are the directories of advanced technology, high technology, and biotechnology in either Washington State or in a larger area of the whole Pacific Northwest. For example, this one will cover Idaho, Alberta, British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon, and Northern California. So if you're willing to sort of go into a broader geographic field, you might spend some time with this. This is sort of a standard reference work, Northwest High Tech. It's published in Redmond. It's and this is a 6th edition, so we consider this a real reliable and standard source. So have a look at those, tell me what you think. If you need more help, let me know.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Seven or 8, I think it's 8. I think it's 8 this fall. Yeah, I think it's 8 this fall. Yeah, I actually grew up here, but I live in Texas. Austin, till I responded. Go back to experience. Okay. Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna back you up a little bit to see. Looks like you only got one in here. So now you're at your experience field of the resume. You put in your job objective. You put in all the personal information about yourself. This is where you start putting in your experience, and you work from the most recent job backwards. So here, go ahead and put that in. Good. Now you put in your job title down here in the next field. That's good. Sometimes people think, I worked in a hardware store, I sold hardware. That's not good enough. If you were also experienced at, estimating the amount of paint you need to paint a wall, or customer service would be an important part of that job. Using power tools would be a good part of that job. Put all of that stuff down there. Just press F10. You can either go to a new experience field, or if you're completely done, you can go to your education section and then put in the most recent school that you attended, where it was, what degree, if any, that you earned, and if you have more than one, you can do that same thing. Press down, and you'll get a new field to do that. So off you go with that. When you're done filling in all the blanks, you want to back out to that, and you can go down here to View Resume, and it will show you what it would look like if you had printed it out right there. And then
Could you do that again, Tom?
Yeah. Hang on. When you're all done, you can take a look at it by highlighting View Resume right there. Press Enter, yeah. And it's going to show you what it will look like on a piece of paper once you get it all filled in. And then when you've got that part done, you can go down to Print, highlight Print, press Enter, and it will output right there for you. So you can actually leave today with a pretty good looking resume. So if you get stopped, let me know and I'll come.
Just go through them down to View Resume.
Let's see that home page.
And then hit, what is it, F10 again, or whatever to bring it up?
Bring it up?
Yeah. Hey there.
It's a pretty day.
It is nice, isn't
It's
it?
not raining. It's sunny, but it's not raining.
That was great. Chippy.